out there, doing a bit more damage, and as Taipei Assassins now turning a push of their own, they're not going to have the minions though to do the damage. While this is all happening, Stanley getting the free farm down the bottom. You can see Woong is going down there to try and deal with him. So now we have a different dynamic. We have Stanley versus Woong in the bottom, and we have Shy versus BB in the top.
And the push from TPA is going to be coming out hard, but Azubu Frost has that Anivia, which is legendary for her turtle capabilities. And top lane is just getting pushed down by BB.
Shy actually took a hell of a lot of damage there, took a lot of punishment from BB, and BB really is dominating that top lane. You can see that Shy's had to back away from it. BB has got a wave coming in. He may be able to take that turret down, you know. He's completely unassisted on that top lane. Meanwhile, the mid lane's also being pushed. Azubu Frost having to deal with it, and BB will take down this top turret.
And he is 2,000 gold ahead of Woong on the other side, so they have a big advantage that they do need to press. We saw them take an early Baron in some of these earlier matches, and since it's so hard to push turrets against Anivia, they might look to force around objectives. That middle turret is being very well held by Azubu Frost. That's going to be the next thing TPA wants to group up and take. It's so difficult to push into an Anivia, but they do have now a 7.3 thousand gold advantage, and this is the moment they need to just pounce. Last time, they had that advantage growing and growing, and then they hit everywhere on the map at once, getting that huge lead. Now that Channel's up again, now that Requiem's up again, they might look to do something similar again.
Well, that 30% gold advantage they have over Azubu Frost definitely equates to the items. You can see Arku nearly completing things. Infinity Edge almost already completed by BB.
And he has the gold for it. It's just a matter of him going back. He's going to actually be able to complete an Infinity Edge and a Zeal once he gets back, which is crazy since Woong only has that Phage and he's still a ways away from a Trinity Force. They're now, like they did last game with the advantage, pushing in the blue buff very hard. And Rapid Star, without a blue buff, cannot turtle add Infinity in the middle, so they will be able to push down that mid turret fairly shortly.
Hit and run damage done by Taipei Assassins. They're taking away that blue buff very quickly, and now a 60 CS difference between Toys and Rapid Star. Very huge lead on Karthus. And that ultimate, like you mentioned earlier on, it is going to be doing some serious damage. A 2,000 gold lead on both carries. In fact, all the carries, because you can see Stanley, even in the top lane, has a 2,000 gold advantage over Shy, which is something I don't recall ever seeing. Considering Shy has been able to get on Jackson, his Telltale champion, he steps on a trap there, and BB immediately pounces and tries to put a chunk of damage down on towards Shy. The Taipei Assassins being very aggressive in that top lane. They need to be careful. They're going to try and catch off. They have to use the crescendo to get away, but a mistake may well pay the price for this one. But they're going to dive in. BB needs to back away. He just needs to accept the fate here. There comes the Shy. Toys also teleporting in. Taipei Assassin trying to turn this one. Can they get anything straight in there? No. You can see Azubu Frost very much backing off very quickly there. Really good disengage.
That was fantastic for Azubu Frost. They actually burned the majority of TPA's engagement tools with a huge disadvantage, got away with the kill, and nobody died. So the resources that actually expended is going to be huge. That makes it very difficult for TPA to force something immediately. Even then, they didn't even get that low, so they might be able to hold the mid turret as well. That was huge for them, and Lil Ball is getting poked down pretty heavily in the mid lane. Azubu doing a really good job turtling this out last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, Lil Ball's ultimately being forced to be used there again, so many ultimates used, only the Requiem and the Caitlyn ultimate available. Caitlyn, of course, is going to be on a much quicker cooldown, but they do not want to burn that Requiem. I thought he might come out in the last fight, but there was nobody really low enough to go for it. And BB again finds himself a lane, and it is against Shy again, and he's just going to continue farming out.
And he's getting really scary right now. Infinity Edge Zeal compared to Woong's only Phage and a Sheen. So he can just pretty much destroy anyone he goes up to. TPA now trying to push in the mid lane.
Bot lane.
They're going to need to push this mid lane in before turrets, and Shy's trying to camp. I don't think he can beat BB in a duel.
Yeah, Shy's thinking about it, and BB's pretty sure there's someone there. Didn't take a peek though, and instead Shy has actually backed out of that fight, didn't want to get involved. But of course he had the Toys ultimate, so he could have had a dual combo straight away. They've been able to get in there, do a heck of a lot of damage. So we are seeing Stanley versus Woong on that top lane, but meanwhile in the middle, Taipei Assassins are going to try and push this one. They may have a decent wave to try and get the poke on towards the turret. It's not going to be enough because Rapid Star clears it out. That's going to be Lil Ball's forced to flash out of there. BB was coming up. They wanted to get that turret down, but they didn't quite have the damage. And Lil Ball's nearly getting caught out. Dragon is up in 12 seconds, so the teams will start positioning for this. You can see Stanley's ultimate just about available.
And this is the struggle for Azubu Frost. They're too weak to start team fights, so if they go in on this Dragon, they're going to most likely lose the fight. They're all about turning that middle turret, and TPA taking the objectives when they're available, but really all the attention needs to be on the middle turret for them, because as long as Azubu Frost holds that mid turret, TPA won't be able to close out this game. They are extending their advantage, however, and with that, all the teamfights will go in their favor. They do have to find a way to create action, though, because with the big lead, it means nothing if you can't kill towers.
Can't kill towers. They do have a 2-to-1 advantage. They have a huge gold lead, 9k difference now. For Taipei Assassins, which this early on is massive. Stanley, of course, is going to start split pushing, start farming, start causing problems for Shy in that top lane. But Shy, they need to be very careful of him, because he's just going to get that free farm going. He's going to become a beast if they manage to drag the game out, which is what they're trying to do. Azubu Frost, they realize they're in that stall position. They need to do what CLG EU can do so successfully with Anivia. And Azubu Frost, you know, having beaten CLG EU twice, which I'm sure they won't like me reminding them, they have that ability. They know how to play against it. They've seen that tactic work against them, so they know how to execute it. Again, here you see Toys trying to get aggressive on towards Mad Life. Mad Life just backing away. There's a lot of damage coming across there. Didn't bother using Ace in the hole. They're going to keep pushing the pressure down. They might be able to get them towards the turret here, because BB is incredibly strong right now.
And they're just trying to poke down as much as possible to make it so they can't turtle the turret. But Anivia's wave clear is so great that they've still got 2/3 health on that turret. They've spent the last 6 or so minutes paying a lot of attention to that mid turret, and they haven't made progress, so they have to switch something up or consider diving or creating some big action. Those walls are dangerous for TPA. They got about another third of the turret there, so they are finally making progress. This is a very effective turtle thus far by Azubu Frost. TPA really has to create something.
Well, they've just warded out, almost like they're going to go for Baron here. I'm just going to put that out there. That's looking like they're trying to force a fight here.
The objective control could be the things they go for. They've been able to get down dragons, and they know that they win 5v5 team fights, so if they can force Azubu Frost into them, they'd be able to turn, and you can take turrets once you kill Rapid Star. It's just a matter of getting him in a spot. The blue buff's up again. They look to want to go for this one, but they've contested so many blues. They're trying to steal this. Oh, Rapid Star just able to get it off.
Yeah, he tried to get a Q in there. Wasn't able to. They're trying to pin off little balls. They do back it off. That shows their hand. And they wanted that, but it wasn't available to them. Meanwhile, BB continues the farm. He's heading down south. He's going to take down that huge wave down south, which means Azubu Frost realized they've stalled it out for another few minutes.
And even with this stall, TPA is doing a very good job to make sure they're getting more gold than Azubu Frost. In their semifinal game against Moscow 5, there was a new cog on Moscow 5, and they were very much about getting it to late game. But once it got to 40 minutes, there was a 16,000 gold advantage for TPA, which meant they could just roll through them in team fights. They're trying for the same thing here, because they have a 9,000 gold lead, and it's only getting bigger as this game moves on. As long as they don't make mistakes, they should be able to take out the late team fights. But they still have to find that option of how they create, because they have the gold lead, they have the team fight advantage, they just have to find the upper hand in positioning.
Well, BB is going to become a beast here. He's going to go back. Phantom Dancer almost certainly going to get completed. He's teleporting back right now. We'll see what he comes out with. No.
Last Whisper.
Goes for the Last Whisper instead, just has that Zeal in there. So once that armor penetration in, there's another ward. Gets lost in the ever and never-ending fight of League of Legends. The ward count, I would love to see that. You know, we saw the info stats. I'd love to see how many wards have died.
There were 80 kills in that one 60-minute CLG versus WE game, and that was just on CLG's side. Been many wards killed this. I wouldn't say there's quite as many, because TPA is yet to start poking around Baron, but they should look to do that soon. They have so many items coming out on BB. The item advantage is never going to be this disparaging for him. Having that Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and Zeal compared to just a Trinity Force and double Doran's Blade on Womb is massive. Even after that, you look at Toys. He's going for the same item build as Rapid Star, but he's completed his Rod of Aegis and a Nilsi Large Rod on top of that. They look to try to finish off this mid tower, but they are actually playing very, very cautious. They can't seem to land quite the right Karthus wall. They can't get quite enough poke out. This turret has been up forever.
It's a 2,500 gold between the top lane as well. Stanley now got that Ionic Spark, got the Aegis of Legion, now building that Trinity Force up just against Shy's Trinity Force. However, Shy really only needs that Trinity Force if he can get by himself a little bit of time to jump in there, get that counter strike off, and obviously BB is going to be the target. The question is, can he get onto BB successfully? Can he get kept away from him? Of course, he's going to have a lot of tools in there. He's going to be jumping almost certainly into a crescendo. Instead, he'll be covering off his AD carry as much as possible. And that mid lane continues slowly to get chipped down.
And in these kind of games, when there's low action, the action seems to explode and just all happen at once. And it also has a huge, huge impact, because now that we're already 27 minutes into the game, the death timers are getting longer and longer, and if there's a team fight, off the end of it, there will be more and more objectives taken. If someone wins a team fight big here, they're going to take Baron and multiple turrets. It's just a matter of TPA getting into this point where they can do that, because Shy is 1v1ing Stanley up in that top lane. They can't quite get down on that. They still have to create action, and when they do get action, there's going to be a lot of it, so be ready.
Azubu Frost trying a little bit of poke here. Maybe trying to force something out there. I'm not too sure whether they're in the right position. I think they were trying to keep Stanley busy so they could try and get a 4v4, but you can see Toys down that bottom. He's pushing on towards the inner turret now. There comes the True Shot Barrage. That will clear out most of the wave. And they will continue the poke battle. From an 8-kill game to a 54-kill game last match. It's definitely a contrast.
TPA, much different style coming out here, and it's about just laning. And when they clashed into all those team fights, they realized they didn't have the team fight team. This time they also realize they don't have the team fighting team, so they're not crashing into fights as much as they were last match. Instead, they're just focusing on getting that gold advantage up. It's 9,600 here, and when they take that tower, it's going to hit double digits. Well, 5 digits if you count all of them, but Dragon up, they're going to take that. So many objectives here, and they're really just waiting until Azubu Frost comes out to fight them. They do seem content just farming.
We're going to pick up the Dragon. It's going to be for free. Azubu Frost won't contest that one. And Stanley and Shy continue to farm out that top lane. And the gold advantage now 11,000 in favor of Taipei Assassins. They are 1 game down, 29 minutes into this game. And the solo lanes really continue to just farm, quite happily keep up. There is a huge difference in gold between the carries at the moment. 10,900 shy of 11,000. Compared to just shy of 8,000 for Rapid Star. That is a huge difference. And of course the AD carries, there's a 2,500 gold difference. The top lane, the bruisers, there's a 2,500 gold difference. It is pretty substantial on the right players.
And I'm going to say this, Vivi is remarkably scary, and he's only going to get scarier. Late game Caitlyn is very underestimated, but having 650 range makes her extremely, extremely hard to close on, and the fact that he has just been completely free farming on top of getting 3 kills and all those dragons. He's a couple hundred gold away from a Phantom Dancer, and that's almost a full 80 carry build in 30 minutes. That is immensely powerful for TPA, and once they get that Phantom Dancer, I wouldn't be surprised with a death cap on Toys as well if they then go to fight around Baron, because Azubu Frost is nowhere close to that item threshold, and that's going to be really big for TPA if they get to those items and then force a Baron.
All wards lose their lives. You can see right now that Toys has just completely cleared out that bottom wave, and they seem quite content to keep farming that top lane. I can't tell whether it's Stanley quite happily just holding out the lane or whether Shy is forcing them to stay in that lane, because they just want Shy to get stronger late game.
And this is really just item thresholds, I think. All the big items are starting to get completed for TPA, and then they'll create action. Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper. Trinity Force just got completed on Stanley. There's another 80 gold. Toys is going to have his death cap the next time he goes back to base. We could see some action very shortly, because they just hit a ton of premiums, and they are really rich right now in comparison to Azubu Frost.
So let's see if they do create some action. You can see Mad Life trying to cover off the Baron there, but it is a huge, huge advantage. Also trying to take down Rapid Star's Banshee's Veil before that fight was potentially going to happen, but we are seeing Toys heading towards the blue. He will have the cooldown as the ward coverage continues to get dropped. But still yet to take down this middle turret. I mean, it's almost like they're keeping it up for a reason. They could easily just tank it down at any chosen moment, but they're not going for it right now. Ooh, Stanley wanting to get on towards Shy there, and Shy just leaps back into his own minions. They will force the pressure. The Wolves is trying to sneak around the side, but again, unable to push anything on Azubu Frost. They're stalling out quite well here.
And here comes the Baron sweep. They have enough damage that they could take down Baron very fast, and they could also peel very well. The danger for them in team fights is if Rapid Star is able to isolate a member of their team with his wall. But with what they're doing right now, they're waiting for that blue buff timer to spawn. They're going to try to take that, and they're just flanking around Azubu Frost, trying to poke them down before this. And wow, just the one ultimate from Caitlyn taking Rapid Star to a third, and they're trying to initiate right off here.
They tried to dive into it. The Wall of Pain getting across. Actually, Rapid Star's getting shredded pretty low, but they're not going to go full engagement here. Cloud Templar might get dropped. They do target him, but they do not go for it. Stanley, that taunt, if that would have landed on anyone, it would have been the death of them. The Taipei Assassins were very much ready for that, but you saw the burst damage going on towards Toys there. He was forced to back off.
They need to just force around Baron, because that middle turret is not giving an inch, and they poke down Azubu Frost fairly lowly, so they're just waiting for Azubu to try to get them off Baron. They should be going for an objective here because they're so strong that if Azubu Frost comes to peel, they'll be able to get rid of them. And here, they're starting the Baron. Azubu Frost has to contest. TPA needs to peel.
TPA go across there. They might take it down before they react. Yes, they do. They took it incredibly quickly. Can they try to get on 20? Do they want to get on 20? That's the question. Are they happy with that? Now they can just push the towers. They quite help how he straight up fight. He can see the little balls. He wants to catch up to it. Good stuff from Rapid Start, keeping them away. And they will start pushing it. Taipei Assassins surely can push the advantage finally on this middle turret.
If they have an initiate, it's going to be from Stanley with a flash taunt because that is their way of getting in. And they are so much stronger than Azubu Frost right now. Look at that poke. This turret going to fall. I don't know how long Azubu can turtle itself because they're really weak. Look at that damage!
The crescendo missing there from a snake there. I think the Banshee's Veil didn't even get blocked there. Rapid Start managing to get away from that one. Why he went for it there? Maybe he's trying to catch out Wung, I don't know. But you can see Taipei Assassin's going to try and push that big advantage. That tower is getting dropped in seconds. They're going to continue pushing forward. Nice in the hole onto Wung there, managing to force him backwards. They could tank this one out. Stanley has the damage, has the tower. Defensive, and of course Lil Balls, we know how long that ultimate is going to last. He has popped his ultimate. He wanted to go for it. They've dived on towards Cloud Temper. There's the Cloud's ultimate. Is it going to be enough damage? They're going to try and push something here, but Shy is going to get involved. They do not have the damage to try and beat back. The Taipei Assassin slowly but surely beating them down. Mad Life having to use the ultimate there. They're going to take the inhibitor to it down. Stanley just missing a max range taunt on Shy there. They keep getting forced back, but they cannot force and repel Taipei Assassins. They take down the inhibitor for free. Nobody dying though, and they just back off.
That was a very impressive push by TPA. They brute forced their way right through Anivia, and with those item thresholds, now they have even more armor onto Low Balls and Stanley once they go back. Everyone was over 1,500 gold, only going to extend their lead. They took that from the outer turret to the inhibitor straight. The Baron buff is still over half remaining for TPA. They're going to do that to another lane, and it's on Azubu Frost to initiate because TPA has actually shown they can just brute force their way through and get things done. Azubu Frost has to stop something, otherwise they're just going to let TPA win the game.
So Azubu Frost, they came back from the last match. They're still at 6-2 in kills. It has definitely been a low kill game, especially in comparison to the last one, where we saw 54 kills. But 5-1 in turrets shows that Taipei Assassins learned from their mistakes in the last match. Excuse the pun. They did manage to pick up. They drove home a huge advantage here. And just looking across the board, the item build, they have such huge, enormous benefits. The ability power across the Taipei Assassins pick up the dragon, no problem at all. Their gold advantage continues. 15,000 gold now. Big difference.
And now they're just going to try that same push they did mid onto the bottom lane. Randwin's Omen on Low Balls. He can tank that turret for quite a long time, and there's no one there to defend it. So the siege, if it happens, is going to happen at the inhibitor turret because this outer one is going to be gone uncontested.
Shy is completely well away from this one. They're going to lose the inner turret. They might even lose the inhibitor turret before he even gets close. Shy is still in that top lane.